You ready to rock? You ready to roll? Then let's keep it going. Yeah. What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Matt Diazabal, coming at you with some new music reviews. Thank you for coming on by. Thank you for finding me. I appreciate it. Today, I am checking out the latest album from Aesop Rock with his album called Hole Superette. If you've never heard of Aesop Rock, just like me, you're newly discovered to him. He is an American rapper, producer based out of New York City, Queens, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. He's been active since about the 1990s. I know that seems so long ago, but that's when I was growing up with that in my good childhood days in elementary school. But besides that, I got recommended to this artist slash rapper from one of my friends slash a fellow YouTuber called Rock of All Ages. I put out a story on my Instagram saying what albums I should check out in 2025. He suggested this, and from what I've learned about this guy and everything, if you're into very complex lyrics, very dense wordplay, and very experimental production, this is your type of hip hop and rap. He's very eclectic, very different. Lots of talk about self reflection and like urban lifestyle and just like really existential stuff. He's playing in a whole different field than any other rapper back in the day in the 90s, and now he's doing a lot of weird stuff, that I would say. So if you're into not your typical style of hip hop and rap, you might enjoy this album. And this being my first time being exposed to his rap style and his overall production and everything, I can see why a lot of people say he's one of the most idiocentric and most imaginative rappers out in the game right now, and I can believe it. The album is packed with dense rhymes, unexpected beats, and his signature, at least from what I can tell, his signature style of off-kilter delivery. But I will have to say that the album kind of suffers on its own excess, and by that I mean, a lot of the songs have a very long runtime. They are a bit repetitive, so it kind of drags the overall listening experience down a bit. The production on this whole album is quite strong, often leaning into spacey synths, funky bass lines, and just some really abstract sonic textures. This futuristic-like vibe you get on here is really present on the songs Secret Knock and Checkers, layering some very robotic grooves with Aesop's vocal heavy driven verses. Sometimes it clicks and it sounds really good, especially with the choruses and the breakdowns feeling very locked in and just going really well with the production. But often throughout this whole album, it feels like the rapping can be a bit stiff or mismatched against the beats. One of the big takeaways from this album is that it can have some nice variety to it, even if it does kind of throw off the pacing at times. Songs like Movie Night and EWR, really highlight Aesop's lyrical complexity, but it stumbles a little bit because the rhythm is a bit janky and they have some awkward transitions with these songs. On the other hand, when he kind of loosens things up a little bit, like on the song I Sold Here, his delivery just feels more sharper, a bit wittier, and genuinely just kind of fun. I would say in these moments, the album feels really alive again. The great thing about this shorter runtime with this song, his lyrics and his vocals really just pack a harder and more impactful punch here, and it feels like they really trimmed away a lot of the fat here. The guest features on this album do add a lot of texture, but they don't always save the momentum that gets lost throughout this album. Like on 101 Wins featuring Arnold Hammer and So Be It featuring Open Eagle Mike, they lean into some moodier, more subdued production here, but they kind of overstay their welcome a little bit, so it just kind of makes things drag a little bit, which is a reoccurring issue on this album. Charlie Horse featuring Lupe Fiasco and Homeboy Sandman feels like a very ambitious track on paper. Yet its length and density leave the listener a little bit worn down by the time Lupe comes in, and he brings a very excellent verse, but it just takes a really long time to get there. Which brings me to another reoccurring issue with this album, is that too often the songs just kind of bleed into one another. Prime examples of this are on the songs Send Help, Costco, Himalaya Yak Crew, because they recycle a lot of familiar cadences and tempos, making the record feel longer than it already is. But like always, there are some highlights that kind of break through the monotony. Snail Zero kind of snaps in with some really good energy and some grit to it. Steel Wool goes a little bit harder and has a bit of a fire to it, and there's a lot of reverb here that is being used that creates a real interesting set of chaos. And then you have the song The Red Phone that kind of experiments with the beat a little bit, switching up different styles to create a very refreshing listening experience. And so as you get to the closer song here, Unbelievable Shenanigans, you can definitely feel the fatigue from listening to this long record. The production, it kind of reminds me of some like dreamy video game score. It gives it a lot of personality, but after 18 tracks of his dense style of rapping and wordplay, even the best quirks of this song become a little bit overkill. So I would say this album, Black Hole Superette, is a very fascinating but bloated record. I would say, the highs here show a lot of brilliance, and they come in really nicely when he can like tighten things up. But the lows here really reveal how easily his eccentric and different style can be a bit exhausting, especially when it's stretched out way too long, like on this album with 18 tracks. It's a project full of ideas. Sometimes they're a bit brilliant, sometimes a bit clunky, but perhaps one that would hit probably a lot harder if everything just was tighter in terms of editing. Shorten it up a little bit, trim the fat, probably would have had a more cohesive and less exhausting listening experience here. But overall, I would say I would have to give this latest album from Aesop Rock, Black Hole Superette, I would have to give it a decent and okay 6 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this album. Give me some more suggestions. And like always, see you in the pit.